Hi guys, welcome to another Achromatopsia video vlog, the second that I am trying to make or attempting to do in my very amateur fashion. First off, I just want to say thank you so much for all of the really cool comments and support I got from all of you guys, either on Facebook or YouTube or groups that I go to, like the Achromatopsia support group. You guys are all awesome, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate the support. It's nice to know that people are finding this useful. When I was young, well, I mean I am young, but younger, there was never any resources out there, so you know, hopefully this helps. Today I decided to do a topic that I'm really excited about. I've actually been planning it for about a week. Really, I've been planning it, writing it down in this beautiful folder. I'm really excited. I should probably say sorry in the previous video. I never realized how much my eyes dart around and how blinky they are. They're not going to stop blinking in this video either. I'm trying, and if I do this I can't see anything, so yeah, they're gonna be blinking, but I never noticed how much us acromats blink and squint. Like, I knew we did, I've been told that we do, but goodness gracious, we look like crazy or something. Maybe not crazy, but okay. Anyway, today our subject is how living with achromatopsia is interesting. Yeah, that's a good one. I think you guys are really gonna like this because I'm going to explain all the things in life that are affected. Some are kind of funny, some are kind of annoying, but affected by our vision loss. So let's get started. Number one is seeing faces. You would probably guess that we have enough vision to see faces because, I mean, when we're walking we normally can avoid people, and you know, we look at people. Sometimes it probably looks like we're making eye contact, and maybe we are to you, but we can't see people's eyes normally. At least I don't think so, unless we're really close and in good lighting. We have issues distinguishing who we're talking to. I don't know about anyone else with achromatopsia, though I'm guessing they can relate. I've had it where I've been, you know, standing or sitting or whatever, and someone comes up and talks to me, and I have no clue who they are. I have no idea. I know they know me because, you know, they say, "Hi, Sky," and I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, "Hi," and I kind of go along with the conversation, but I almost 90% of the time, I don't know who comes up and talks to me. I feel really bad about it. I think that's probably a mixture of our visual acuity and our color blindness and our inability to see details, but definitely can't see facial features. The best way I've come to combat this is telling people to say who they are when they come and say hi to me. I always tell someone, if they come and say hi and I don't address them by name back, then I don't know who they are. So in that way, people know right from the get-go when I meet them, I tell them that, and then they know that if they come and say hi to me again, and I don't say who they are, then they'll probably say, I'll ask them to say, "My name is, you know, George," or Luann, or something like that, and I'll know who they are, and then I know who I'm talking to, and the conversation goes much better. But facial recognition, definitely hard. If you ever come and say hi to me, unless you're really close, like you know that I know you, I don't know who you are, and you should probably say, "This is Karen," or whatever. And then we'll have a much better time, or at least I'll feel a lot less awkward and bad about it. Yeah, I mean, it's not our fault, but it's not your fault either. It's just this really awkward social thing. I promise I'm friendly. Number two, speaking of eye contact, you know, I never knew that I was supposed to make eye contact with people. I never knew that it was considered polite, or at least impolite not to make eye contact. At least up until recently, I was walking with my older brother through a big crowd of people. He does not have achromatopsia, lucky bugger, and someone, this vendor was, you know, trying to sell us something, and my brother was like, "No," and I didn't look at him, I just waved. I'm like, "That's okay, thanks," and I didn't look, and my brother said, "That was kind of rude, you know, you just waved him off," and I'm like, "What, how is that rude?" I said, "No thanks," and he said, "You didn't make eye contact," and I'm like, it was like a revelation. I'm like, what? Like, I have to make eye contact like that, like just walking through a crowd? He's like, yeah, it's basic manners. And I was blown away because I wear sunglasses pretty much 24/7. I'm doing this video because it would probably make people uncomfortable, but I do wear sunglasses a lot to get around, to block out light, that kind of thing, and people can't see my eyes, so in that case I've never really done eye contact because I can't see their eyes either, and apparently you need to look at people in the eye. Another thing is when I look at people in the eye, they normally kind of get a little antsy about my nystagmus. My eyes do twitch. If you can see, I'm staring into the camera now, I don't know if they're twitching or not. But when they twitch, it kind of freaks people out, so that probably drove me off of eye contact at a young age too, is not to stare directly at someone. But apparently you need to do that. It, I think, makes people a little less nervous, makes you seem a little more friendly. Just a tip, or something interesting. Number 3, the name of things. And by things, I'm gonna go with like stores or products in stores or signs or addresses. We can't see signs normally, especially outside. And there's definitely accommodations and adaptations for that, adaptive technology for that. And you can, say, use a monocular, which is kind of like a telescope kind of thing, little tiny, I think I have one. When you can't see signs, you can definitely use a monocular or a pair of actual binoculars, I guess. Of course, binoculars 1, binoculars 2. It's kind of hard when you're outside if you're wearing sunglasses. I know people with achromatopsia definitely have this issue, and that if you're wearing sunglasses, it's really hard to get the magnification right because it's not close to your eyes. You need these really, really close to your eyes to see. And so we'll be outside wearing sunglasses. If we take the sunglasses off, there's probably no way we're going to be able to see through these because it's really bright all the time. So in that case, when we're outside trying to find places, street names, signposts, bus stops, if they're at face level, kinda, at our height, we can probably read them if we get close. If they're higher, we might completely miss them, or we'll have to look for them with a binocular, and it's tedious. But, you know, it's usually doable unless there's a lot of glare. If you're living in someplace sunny and it's a sign with like a lot of finish on it or something, or a plastic sign or metal sign, and there's a lot of glare, good luck reading that. But that's how we kind of adapt to that. But also in the grocery store, think about it, when you're walking from aisle to aisle, we can't see the aisle names. When you're going and looking for a certain product, we can't see the product names, especially the product names. So you know how people in the grocery store are going to be standing there looking at all the products and stuff, maybe from across the aisle. We can't see a product. Anything we read, we really can't see it unless we're about this close. And that involves text that is about this big. Like, we can't read it unless we're really, really, really close. And so at the grocery store, I don't know how other people deal with it. I'm kind of interested. If you guys have achromatopsia, do fill me in. So if I'm in a store and say I need to read a certain product, look for something specific, I normally either have to go and crouch down right next to it, or put my face really, really close, or I have to pick up the item and, you know, bring it right close to my face to read it, because we have to be very close. Yeah, so that's kind of how we deal with that, and what that is, that you normally wouldn't think of, I'm hoping. Okay, so number 4 is money transaction. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm in stores trying to buy something, I can't see the debit machine normally. If I'm in a store and the screen for the debit machine is rather dark, it doesn't have lighting, then I have an issue, a big issue. Normally to the extent where even if I get really close, there's a good chance I won't be able to see what the screen is saying because of the contrast. It's just not enough for me to differentiate it. If the screen is bright, I can see it, but I have to be really, really close again, about an inch away. And so, of course, that's really rather embarrassing, I guess, when you're trying to pay for something and you have to really lean down and pick up the machine and get really, really close. People look at you like you have 2 heads or something, and it's hard, it's really difficult. So I mean, we do have debit cards and credit cards, but to avoid the stress of that, I normally go with paying cash. That can also lead to issues if you have a store that doesn't accept cash. I'm finding a few more stores nowadays don't accept cash. I can't really shop there unless I'm with someone else who can tell me what my debit card is doing or saying, or what the machine is saying. Shopping with my parents and stuff like that. If not, if you really have to come down to it, you could ask the cashier, you know, what's going on. I love the idea of paying with your smartphone, paying with chip cards. I know up in Canada they have a lot of chip technology. Down here in the States, I don't know how much of that they have. I know that where I live they don't have a lot of it in businesses. It all depends on how incorporated your business is, how up to date they are with the new technology and stuff like that. Like Apple Pay, it's not going to work if they don't have the right technology to accept it. So hopefully things get better as time goes on. We'll be able to pay in more interesting ways. But for now, cash. Pay with cash. Normally it takes away a lot of headache. It takes away a lot of embarrassment. It works just better. A lot better. Whenever I have to go pay for something, I'm always stressing out because I just don't know how I'll be able to see. I always ask first if they take cash before I pay, because if they don't, it's really embarrassing to try to figure that out. So yeah, that's number 4. Number 5, the fun of buses. As I think I've stated before, if you have achromatopsia, you normally have, the norm is 20/200 vision, which is legally blind. I have 20/400 vision. If you have 20/200 vision, you generally cannot drive. If your vision can be corrected with certain accommodations, certain technology, maybe if you have part achromatopsia, you might be able to drive. I know there's some people who have. I know I definitely can't. Even if I did have the visual acuity, my complete color blindness would not, you know, make me able to see the lights, and I can't see outside. I just can't. What I'm getting at is that people with achromatopsia, or who are legally blind in general, normally take the bus. And that is kind of a common fact of life. We either walk, we can ride our bikes, though I've had some serious accidents riding bikes, or we take the bus, or we, you know, have a cab or taxi. That's expensive though. Ugh. So from what I know about people with achromatopsia, we're fiercely independent people. We like to do stuff on our own. So that means that we normally take the bus. And taking the bus can be difficult if you can't see where you're going. I know that some new bus systems read out the stops or the main streets that you're crossing, and then you can know from there where you are. That's really helpful. If you live in a big city, taking the subway is awesome, but if you have to rely on buses, getting off at the right stop can be really hard, because in really bright light, or even, you know, if you have sunglasses that really work well for you, at least I can't see, and I'm guessing most people with achromatopsia can't see where they're at when they're driving. Unless you have a really, really big landmark, it's really hard to tell where you are. So getting off at the right stop can be tricky. What I do is I ask the bus driver, and I say, you know, hey dude, can you tell me when I'm at Spruce Grove or whatever? And he'll say, yeah, I'll tell you, and I say thanks. And I travel with a cane. A lot of people with achromatopsia don't, and that's something I'm going to get into in a later video. But the cane really helps with the bus driver noticing that you are visually impaired and you do need to know things like that, and it'll help him not to forget. So I usually, you know, sit in the seating in the front with my cane and wait for him to tell me which bus stop I'm getting off at. This helps in really unfamiliar stops when you just don't know where you're going and you can't see the signs. It's hard at first to ask for help, but it really does help a lot, because the bus driver knows where he's going, and normally those guys are pretty friendly, and it's a lot less stressful than trying to guess where you're getting off and getting off at the wrong stop and not knowing where you are. It's a lot less hassle. Another thing with bus stops is it can definitely happen that your bus driver forgets, or he's kind of lame and he lets you off at a stop you're not supposed to be at, or you didn't want to get off at. That's happened to me on numerous occasions, where my bus driver has pulled up at my stop and hasn't told me that it's my stop, and then goes, and then I go up and ask him and say, when are we going to be at my stop? And he said, oh, we already passed it. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, a while ago I was waiting for you to get off. And I'm like, I didn't know. And he's like, oh. Like, oh, goodness gracious, the joys of traveling. So that kind of stuff can happen too, definitely. When you're visually impaired, traveling is difficult, but it's also kind of an adventure. I like to think of it as an adventure, getting around and stuff. As long as you have a backup plan, a cell phone, someone to contact, then you're good, really. Or you're traveling with someone. It's a good idea to know a few stops along the way. It's a good idea to know which bus to get back on. Usually in the worst case scenario, if he drops you off at the wrong stop, you just wait for the next bus, get right back on, keep going, wait for the bus to turn around, and eventually reach the stop you need to get at. That would take you some time though, so hopefully you get things figured out before that happens.